Roofs. In this video, we'll learn about creating roofs in Revit. To begin with, we'll take a look at where the roof tool is. It's located on the Architecture tab, Build panel, and you can see that the roof tool is right here. There are two main ways to create a roof in Revit: roof by footprint and roof by extrusion. The roof by face we'll learn later in the massing chapter. There are also roof soffits, roof fascia, and roof gutter, and we'll get to that a little bit later. To begin with, a roof by footprint, we'll need to create some walls. We created 4 walls on level 1. To create the roof, we'll want to go to level 2. If we start by invoking the tool Roof by Footprint, you can see that we are now in sketch mode. Again, the red X and the green check, and everything is halftone, so we know we are in sketch mode. When we draw the outline of the roof, it'll be a magenta line. That will also let us know we are in sketch mode. To create a roof by footprint, we will want to draw the boundary of the roof, and then we'll define which sides of the roof will slope towards the center. Let's take a look. Like the floor and the ceiling, one of the best options to create the boundary of the wall is by picking walls. When you pick a wall to create the boundary of the roof, the wall is now associated with that roof boundary, meaning if the wall moves, the roof will move with it. Let's go ahead and pick all 4 walls. We'll create a 2-foot overhang, which you can do up in this status bar. When you hover over a wall, you can see the green dashed line that will indicate where the boundary of the roof will be located once I select the wall. If I hit Tab, Revit will select all 4 walls that were created in the chain. Now I can left click and you can see the magenta boundary of the roof. Let's take a look at some of the icons that are on the screen while we're in sketch mode about to create the roof. The first are the magenta lines indicating the boundary of the roof. Remember, we use the pick wall tool, so they're all associated with the walls. The next icon are these little triangles, which indicate that along that line that the triangle is associated with, the roof will slope towards the center as it is modeled in Revit. So in this instance, all 4 walls will slope towards the center as Revit creates the roof. The last 2 icons, one is the flip selection. If I click that, the lines go from inside the wall to outside the wall and vice versa. And then the last icon is the slope. We can see here that the slope is 9 and 12, and you can also see in the properties palette down here the slope is there also. If I wanted to change the slope of all the boundaries, I could highlight each one and change it here, or I can go to the palette property and just change it here, and that will affect all of them. When I finish the sketch mode, I'll check the green check. Revit asks if I want to attach the walls to the roof. I say yes, and I'll show you why. Let's look at it in 3 dimensions. You can see that the roof was built or modeled from all 4 walls, and all 4 sides slope towards the center as the roof was modeled. If I select a wall and I drag or move the wall, you can see that the roof comes with it. And again, that is because I used the Pick Wall tool. If I highlight the roof and edit the footprint, I go back into sketch mode. And you can work on the roofs in 3 dimensions as well. Let's see what happens if we turn the slope off on the 2 ends. I can select this one, hold down my control key, and select the other one. And now I can turn off the define slope. And you can see that the triangles have gone away. Keep in mind, if I want to modify the slope or turn the slope off on a certain line of the boundary, I do not click the triangle itself. I click on the line, and then I have the option up here to turn the slope on or off. So now we have two sides that are going to slope towards the center, and the two ends will not. When we finish sketch mode, you can see that we have created a gable roof. Let's highlight the roof and edit the footprint again. If I select these two lines and turn off those slopes, now I have no boundaries that are sloping towards the center. So when I finish the sketch, I'll have a flat roof. Let's modify the roof one last time. This time let's select all four sides, make them slope just like we had at the beginning, and you can see that this is a hip roof. A hip roof is where the ends actually slope towards the middle. Edit the footprint. A gable roof is when the ends do not slope towards the middle. Remember, when we created the roof, Revit asked if we wanted the walls to be attached to the roof. You can see that when we have a gable end, the wall actually extends up to that roof. That is because we said yes when Revit asked if we wanted the walls attached to the roof. If we go back and change this to a hip, you can see that the wall is still attached to that roof edge, even though it is now lower. Let's delete this roof for now. Let's go back to our level 2 floor plan and create another roof very similar to the roof that we just made, with one important difference. Again, we'll go to the Architecture tab, Build Panel, Roof. We'll do a 2-foot overhang, and we'll pick walls, but in this instance, we'll just pick 3 of the walls. The last wall we'll actually draw. We could also pick a wall or pick a line, but let's go ahead and draw it, and we'll offset this 2 feet. We'll draw just along this wall. There we go. And then we'll need to trim it, because remember, the boundary needs to be a closed loop. We'll change the slope to 4 and 12 to match our last roof. Now keep in mind, these 3 walls, or boundaries, were created by the Pick Wall tool. The last one was created by drawing. If we finish the sketch mode, we can take a look that there's something a little bit weird going on here. Let's take a look in 3D. You can see that we've got a little dog ear. It doesn't quite line up like the other corner here. That is because we drew the line for this boundary instead of picking the wall. Revit determines the height of the boundary differently if you pick the wall than versus drawing the line. We can solve this by highlighting the roof, editing the footprint and going into sketch mode, and using the tool called Align Eaves here. When we pick Align Eaves, you can see at the very boundary the height in relation to the level of the roof edge. These 3, where we picked the wall, is at -8 inches, but where we drew it, the outside edge, is at 0. So we would like to align all of these so they are the same. And we can do that by adjusting the distance of the overhang away from the wall or adjusting the height. Let's go ahead and just adjust the height. And what Revit will want us to do is, we can read down here, select an eave to align to, and then select the eaves that we want to align. So we'll first select the correct eave height, this one, and then when we select the one that needs to be corrected, you can see that that it moved to match. We can finish the sketch mode, and you can see now that these corners are the same. Let's now take a look at creating a roof by extrusion. To do this, I'm going to keep this roof, but I'm going to change the roof height. or the roof slope, to 9 and 12. Oops, we have the little align eave issue again, so we can select this, edit the footprint, align the eaves, and we can select that and that, finish the sketch mode, and we've cleaned up that corner. Let's go ahead and create a roof by extrusion. In this, we will draw the profile of the roof, and then Revit will extrude the roof through space to create the three-dimensional form. So we can start with level 2, and we'll go to roof by extrusion. The first thing Revit, let's actually go to 3D view, might be easier to see. Roof by extrusion. The first thing Revit wants us to do is pick a plane upon which we will draw the profile. So Revit is looking for a vertical plane, and on that plane we will start drawing our profile. So we'll pick this wall here, and Revit wants to associate this roof by extrusion to a level. Level 2 is fine, and we'll say OK. So we're now in sketch mode, and we're going to draw a profile that's in the same plane as this wall here. So we can go to the front view, and we can let's draw a front porch, and maybe it is an interesting shape. And this is what you use roof by extrusion for when it's not a simple shape. Let's see. And you want to make a different type of shape. And you can say finish sketch mode, and you can see that it extruded that shape along through space to create the three-dimensional geometry. I can push and pull this thing. If I wanted it to be a porch, I might pull this end out and bring this end back. And now I have a floating roof. Now we might want to attach it to this roof. And to do that, you can go to the Modify tab here, and in this little tool right here is Join Roofs, Join or Unjoin Roofs. And when you click on this, Revit will want you to pick the back end or the end of the roof that you want to join, and then the plane of the roof that you're going to join it to. And now you can see that it doesn't go inside the roof anymore. It is attached to that wall. And even if I raise or lower this new roof or move it around, it'll still stay attached to the main roof. And that's roof by extrusion. Keep in mind the type of roofs that we've been creating, if I select this and look at my properties palette, have all been basic roof generic 12 inches. Just like floors and ceilings and walls, we can edit the type of that roof, go into the structure, and add materials and thicknesses to those materials, and with a buildup of layers create new roof types. If we highlight the roof and we want to change it to, say, something like wood rafter with asphalt shingles, we can just change it that way. It has no pattern on it, so we could highlight it, for example, go to the type, properties, go to the structure, and under the asphalt shingle, select the properties of asphalt shingle and add a surface pattern. For instance, shake. Hit OK, hit OK, hit OK, hit OK. And now you can see that it's got the pattern of shake roof. So again, the type of the roof, edit type properties, very similar to floors, ceilings, and walls. The last thing we'll look at in regards to roofs in Revit is creating roof soffits. Let's delete the porch. A roof soffit is the horizontal plane that extends from the roof edge along this line and extends towards the wall itself. Sometimes you have an open eave, like this is shown, and sometimes you close it off with a roof soffit. If you want to close it off with a roof soffit, Revit has created a tool that makes this fairly easy. Again, we'll go to the Architecture tab, Roof drop-down menu, Roof Soffit. We'll go to level 2. We'll associate the roof soffit with level 2. And you can see that you're going to, down here, Revit wants you to pick walls to create lines. But then after you're done picking walls, you're going to need to pick roof edges with this tool here. So we can come in here, select one wall, hit Tab, and select all 4 walls. And you can see that Revit has made a boundary. Then we can pick the roof using this tool. And when we pick the roof, you can see that Revit has created the outside edge. We can finish sketch mode, look underneath, and you can see that we have created a roof edge right here. Now it looks a little off, it's too high, but that's easy enough to fix. We'll go to level 2. We're going to create a section cut. Take a look at that section. And we can just grab that roof soffit and move it into place. And now when we look at in our 3D view, you can see that the roof soffit is in there, has been created. Similarly, we can add a roof gutter. Again, Architecture tab, Roof, Gutter. Here's the roof type, the gutter type, and all we have to do is select the edge that the gutter is going to be along. And as I select all 4 edges, we'll zoom in, and you can see that Revit does a nice job of cleaning that gutter up and creating the gutter. And lastly, let's get rid of that gutter. Lastly, we can add a fascia board, which is a board that covers the edge of the roof up in the same manner as the gutter. Architecture tab, Roof dropdown, Roof fascia. This will be a 1x12, and we can make, by attaching the lines, by selecting the roof edge lines, we can create a fascia board. And you can see it right here. If I select the fascia and edit the type and change the material to, let's say cherry wood, or clad white is even better. Well, no, let's go to cherry wood. I'm doing this so we can see it more distinctly. And there you go, and that's the fascia board. And then we can even go ahead and go back to our gutter and add a gutter to the outside of the fascia board. So you have the gutter, you have the roof, the gutter, and the fascia, and the soffit.